Hello, all, and good evening. I extend a warm welcome to all the panelists, audience, and our well wishers. Thinking Minds, EduFacet, and All India Educators Forum bring one of its kind discussion on the impact of present pandemic, online classes, stress on students, and change in exam pattern. The academic year 2021 and 2020 ended with the suspension on face to face instruction in schools throughout the world. We all have witnessed it. But 2021-22 witnessed the onset of hybrid blended learning in many parts of the world. The present pandemic had created new opportunities, improvised teaching skills, enhanced accessibility of knowledge, but at the same time, it has created a huge impact on student learning and well being. With improvised teaching and learning system, various new policy implementations are at rise. The year 2021 and the forthcoming years, I challenge it, is perhaps one of the most challenging for educators and students alike. Let us now know the opinions of our panelists, understanding the advantages, gaps, and how to cope up with the situation. A panel is a plethora of students, as well as we have the opportunity to have students among us, educator as well as a psychiatrist. I now welcome Dr. Sadhvi Maithili. Madam, it's an immense privilege for me to have you on board.
Yeah,
I have
thank
known
you.
you. Thank you, ma'am. I have known you, through your videos I have seen, and the kind of interaction you had with different panel members with regard to this particular topics. And you're a psychiatrist as well as a therapist, madam. I would like to know your opinion on the pandemic and how it has affected the world throughout. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me for this talk. And thanks for this. See, I have done lots of sessions for many people, but this is from a student's perspective. So, this has given me a chance to actually view and try to understand things from a different perspective. So, thanks for this opportunity and thanks for your kind words. Because this session is more or less on how the new system is causing stress and how to cope with the stress, I would like to start with a definition of stress. How do you
Sure, ma'am.
define stress?
Sure,
In
sure, sure.
loose terms, stress is anything that balance that pulls out the equilibrium that makes us go into some kind of state of imbalance. That can be anything. That can be anything from very minute things to big things. For example, if today maid is not home, so maid has not come, and that can give you a huge headache because normal equilibrium is we expect the maid to come and do all the household chores so that we can take care of the other things. So maid is not there, that can be a huge thing. Second, it can be as simple as uh, for example, someone is watching a serial. Someone is watching a serial, something like Nee Mogude Na Kuda Mogudu, and then the mother-in-law is mixing poison in heroine's drink, and suddenly the power is off and we don't know what is happening to the heroine. That can be a stress also because we are in a state of equilibrium where we are watching that that stupid ridiculous serial, and suddenly there is a power cut. Even that can be a disturbance in equilibrium. So I'm giving stupid examples so that you can get a picture that why stress happens and how it impacts. So anything can be a stress. Anything from missing a bus to losing some purse or to huge things like going to write an exam can be a thing, can be a stressful thing. So how is COVID causing stress? So stress by definition usually comes by three things. One is anything that is new. Second is anything that is unpredictable. Third is anything that is uncontrollable. So as you guys all know that COVID is a very new thing. Okay, for now, after 2 years, now we think that we are well aware of COVID. But when it started in 2020, it was pretty new and we had no idea about it. Even the doctors had no idea about it. So it is new. The entire thing is new. The entire pandemic thing, shutting down everything, lockdown, everything is new. And this is not something even we have fantasized in our wildest of dreams. We never imagined this. When we thought of post-apocalyptic world, we might have imagined something like the Quiet Place or Bird Box kind of scenario, but this is something we never expected. So it is new. Second is it's unpredictable. Uh, See, because we don't know how many more waves are going to come, how many years this is going to last, and how whether the future variants going to be stronger than this, or whether this vaccine will work on the future variants. Nothing we know for sure. So the kind of unpredictability is actually keeping us on our toes. So we are always on edge. We are always wondering whether there will be emergence of another wave. So this is definitely unpredictable. Second, third is uncontrollable. Do I have to explain how uncontrollable the entire situation has been? Because we all are well aware. Actually, we took the controllability so much for granted. Till the lockdown came, I never knew there are so many things which are out of my control. Only when the pandemic hit, after the lockdown and everything, I came to understand that there are many things which I had been taking for granted. So, COVID is everything in the definition of stress. So, it's almost like COVID is stress. So, when it comes to education, when the first wave hit, we were all in the survival mode. People who were affected were struggling to live, the families were struggling to live, and people who were not affected were struggling to get supplies, food, ration, gas connection, and everything. So we were all in that survival mode. No one was giving any kinds of thoughts about education, because everyone was like, okay, once this is over, we can take care of education later. Kids can wait. Kids can wait for 1 2 years and nothing will happen. Then the slow realization that COVID is going to stay came. So from then onwards, so all the schools and institutes started online classes, and the trouble with online classes is no one takes classes seriously. In the last 1.5 year, I have attended more than 100 seminars, so webinars. So if I am not the one who is talking, I cannot pay attention. Immediately my mind wanders off to my phone, or I want to check my WhatsApp, or I want to go to Facebook or something or the other. I get distracted very easily because okay, all these things we can discuss in the last section also. So before that, why I think that students from around 7th to 12th are the most impacted in this type of online classes, because before 7th, all the primary classes, it is a huge headache for parents, not students. Parents have the responsibility to sit along with the kids and teach them. So it is a huge headache for them, because they don't understand the impact of not studying or not attending classes or not doing homework. They are like, okay, I'm very happy there is no class. I see a few of my nephews, they are very happy when there is class, they start eating and they just mute themselves and they start watching cartoons. They have no responsibility, they have no sense of responsibility. So it is parents' headache. After grad in for from people who are from graduation, usually even if they are attending direct classes, it is an independent education. They have to study independently. All the professors from graduation level, they just guide you. They cannot spoon feed you. But people from like 7th 8th to 12th, they are in this middle zone. They know how responsible they have to be to study, or what happens if they don't study, because they understand they are slightly entering into the adult world. Second, because they are in this stage, they are more confused. When things don't go well, when things are completely chaotic, they are more confused. So I feel, I think I'm open for because I don't know anyone personally in this stage, but I feel that in the education system, these age groups are suffering the most. So by this, I'll end this session and then we'll discuss later after knowing and understanding your views. Thank you.
Sure, ma'am. Actually, as a parent, I can also vouch that it's, stress more on parents because for the first time we are handling children and, their academics, not as an educator's perspective because, the parents have never been an integral part of child's education, isn't it? So I think many of the parents definitely will vouch on that. Next, so I'll just go to the next panelist here, who's an educator, and I take extreme delight in welcoming my dear friend, Mrs. Asha Gehlot, who is an educator from Hyderabad. She's a PGT from Science Department, having nearly 12 years of experience in teaching and mentoring young students. Asha ma'am, a dear welcome to you. It's over to you, madam. I just want to know your opinion on this
Yeah, good
concept.
evening. Good evening. Thank you, Deepika. And good evening, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Thinking Mind, EduFacet, and AIEF for giving me an opportunity to present my views on this topic virtual teaching learning and students lacking interest in online classes. Okay, to start with, year 2020, the pandemic has impacted the closure of schools not only in India but all over the world. So it had been a tumultuous experience. The change to virtual learning has been strange and sometimes difficult experience for both students and teachers. As students made ways into virtual classrooms, which was, I think, very easy task for this generation. Believe me, teachers had to face tough time in getting prepared for this. So, how are we teachers coping with this online education? Online classes are the new normal in education during the pandemic, and the teachers have to go beyond the regular teaching practices. Teacher had to become first students, okay, to learn the small nitty gritties of online teaching, like from creating email accounts to uploading videos. Teachers who are used to put chalk to board are now facing new platforms, spending hours and days researching on training material, recording sessions late night, and believe me, there was surmount pressure to learn virtual tools and technical aspects of virtual teaching. And we needed to rely on various online programs like Canvas, Zoom, and Google Meet. Learning to navigate new websites and finding new ways to send and receive assignments and information to students, believe me, it was a nightmare for us. E-teaching demands extra as teachers to bring school into living spaces. Teachers had to leave their comfort zone, the four walls of the physical classroom, and confine themselves to virtual walls, and toil to be as creative, as convincing as possible. But nowadays, I can see that students are highly disinterested in attending these classes as they are tempted to browse many websites which provide them information and entertainment. When lessons are being taught through a screen, it makes it much easier for the students to tune out and get distracted by something else. So after all, they are children. Children enjoy the ability to learn to turn off their computer cameras, and but this option leaves the teacher staring into blank void of black screens with names, which makes teaching really very difficult. Learning from behind the screen not only affects students' understanding of their classes, but it can also affect their studies. Very important, students' ethics, like browsing Google to get easy answers. Now, I personally feel that strength of a teacher is in their emotional connect. A student connects with learning, and it happens only when the teacher is in visible in real than virtual. Virtual classroom hinder this kind of interaction and make it difficult to instruct and connect with students. students tend to lose their interest, and their understanding of the concept take backseat, which is really stressing not only students but also teachers and parents. My dear students, I know how much you are missing school, and on our side, we are also missing you too. In this pandemic, I know we cannot control what's happening around us, but certainly we can control how we react to it. So, in this present scenario of COVID, it is very important for you to stay safe at home. Children, do not get nervous and think of running away from online learning. We all are here to help you in every possible way. Thank you. Thank you so much, Deepika ma'am.
Not at all, ma'am. It's a pleasure to listen from one educator to another. Madam, and you are very true that, we are there. We are always there. And it was one of the most challenging time for the educators also, because, we were also student, right? We also donned the hat of student, and, we learned something which normally the younger generation, who are the present panelists and the important speakers, they are very quick at it. But when it comes to us, we had to unlearn to relearn. Am I correct or not, Asha? With on that note, now I invite my next and the youngest panelist, M. Sai Srija, student of class 12, a promising YouTuber, and singing is her passion. Srija aspires to become a chartered accountant. Over to you, Srija.
Good evening to the panelists and my dear friends. Thank you to Thinking Minds, EduFacet, and AIEF for this platform. My name is Srija, and I'm a student of class 12. I have completed my 11th standard and am ongoing with the 12th through online education in this current pandemic. I am glad to share my opinions and thoughts about the online education system has brought in the lives of us students. And I have been thankful to hear the views of Sadhvi ma'am and also Asha ma'am from a psychologist view and also a educator view. Um, and now moving on, I would like to share how I have felt has changed our lives, this education system. The first thing that has bothered me is I miss the visual affirmations from teachers in an online class. When the class was going on in a classroom and the teacher looked at us and asked us to speak, we could know that they will help us and we speak with that confidence. But in an online class, we leave it to the people who are always ready to speak, have the confidence, and through that, the people with good confidence have grown, and it has reduced our chances for the introverts and shy people because we are lacking the visual confirmation and affirmation from our teachers. And other thing is, as Sadhvi ma'am has said, since it's new, unpredictable, and uncontrollable, the change has increased the stress, leading to tiredness. We feel really tired after an online class, and we think to ourselves, we are not moving, but yet we feel very tired. Our mind feels tired, and our body continues with it, catches it. Also, the screen time which we are spending due to the online education has changed the biological sleep cycle for us. And due to that, when we feel the class is a bit boring, all the students relate with me. Even though it's a great subject, we often feel a topic boring. And the sleep cycle makes us disengage from it since it is very easy. We are not sitting in front of a teacher and we always have the opportunity to switch our cameras off and we might fall, and it is leading us to fall asleep a bit. And the environment around us is always helpful. When I am going to a debate, if I am going to speak in a debate, I would like a stage and a mic and the audience in front of me, which would create the environment for me to speak up. And I will know that I will encourage the people in front of me, and I can share my views to them. But the same thing being done in my own room through a screen has required a new set of skills from me, which are new, and I need to learn them. It is also good because I get extra time. There is no transportation, and I do not need to go through the traffic every single morning and evening, traveling back and forth. And I do not need to walk up the stairs my classroom. I can just sit, and it takes me a minute to join into a class, and a 5-minute break is enough to join into the other class. This online system has increased the flexibility and convenience, but also it is requiring a new set of skills from us emotionally and mentally to adapt to it. As I mentioned, it feels easier to disengage from a class because of the environment around us. And there is no person beside us listening to the class. We don't know what else is happening. We are just looking at a teacher talking to a screen. It is like watching a video. I wonder how many people watch a YouTube video with complete concentration as if they are having a conversation. Since we have completely experienced with YouTube videos, the online classes felt the same way. It was like a video for us, and we could not start interacting with it so quickly. We were unable to speak up and have a conversation through it. And concentration was a having and keeping the concentration was a major problem for me and a few of my friends, as I've discussed. One of the reason would be there are many distractions. I'm listening through a screen, and there are 2 to 3 screens beside me. If I'm listening through a computer, there's a tablet for me, there's a mobile phone for me, and I can quickly go and search something on it, and I can go through anything. While we go to a school in a physical environment, we yearn to come back home and scroll through our social media if they are into social media, or anything we are interested in. There are not just bad habits, there are good habits too, reading a good book. But all of these are distractions, and which we would have done in our free time. But online classes feel very disengaging. As we disengage from it, we connect with a new thing and we get very distracted, and it requires a complete concentration. While we are in a classroom, as we do not understand a single sentence from the teacher, we speak up, "Ma'am, can you please repeat that?" Or we ask the person beside us because they are going and listening to the same thing. But in an online class, we don't know who is listening, who is not. And to speak up, we need the visual affirmation from a teacher. Also, there are students who would like for a teacher to give them to give them to give them the confidence to speak up. They would wait for the teacher to pick them up, choose them to speak on a topic. But here it is, we have to self motivate ourselves in this new environment we are going through, and that has been a hard thing. Um, we have learned a new set of skills, and I'm thankful for it. I would have not known how to manage in a online class if not for the pandemic and the online education. And I have learned about many online resources which I can use in my free time and along with class, and how to manage. Also, since online education has started from physical education, I have learned and I have developed slowly skills for self discipline. Instead of one person teaching me and giving me a timetable, um I am making my own timetable. I need to study this, and I have this free time after my online class, and I can go through my next points. A self discipline. I have to wake up early to sit in the class early. Instead of going to the class, I am now maintaining my own self discipline, and I am my own motivation to go to the class and attend it. And having the concentration is completely my choice. It is not being forced, but I am making myself do it, and I have learned to control myself, to have control over it. And this is also helpful for few people, not helpful for a few. Some are enjoying this and are prospering and are learning many new things through online education. It has given them time to learn new things. It is it is something they are good at and they are enjoying, instead of being in a physical environment which will demand extra things and separate things. Some people are enjoying these online education, but some are completely disengaging from it and postponing the tasks they have because they have the opportunity to. They can just skip it because it is an online class and because nobody else is also listening to it. So I can say I would skip this class. So this is one of the options we have. These are the options we are getting, and I feel a bit scared of these options because one day I might feel very tired and choose it, and I will miss a class for which I won't have the time to catch up, and the next class won't be understandable, so I can't concentrate in it. All of these were a few problems for me, and these are my views. As I said, I'm thankful for listening Asha ma'am's and Sadhvi ma'am's views on this, and I've learned new things. I've learned how the teachers are feeling about this and how people not how Sadhvi ma'am has said all the points were very valid from our point of view too. And Deepika ma'am, thank you very much for this opportunity to let me speak.
Thank you, Srija, for voicing out your opinion on this topic. Yes, it's a fresh opinion, and now we are going to understand from your perspective how well it is, what is happening from your point, because this is the first time I believe students are voicing out, right? So we have, thank you again, once again. Our next panelist is Lakshmi Kshiraja, students of class 11th. She's a budding author, and her first story is published in Kikli magazine recently. She also bagged an appreciation gold certificate for Queen's Royal Essay Writing Competition. Apart from being an author, she holds first degree black belt in karate and is interested to pursue law in future. Over to you, Kshiraja.
Before starting, I thank Thinking Minds EduFacet and AIEF for this opportunity, and I wish everyone here a splendid evening. When we think of classes and studying from the student's perspective, we think of the pandemic and the changes it has brought to us. From learning to giving tests in the classroom to doing the same, but being confined in a room are the changes that were brought to us. Before the pandemic, the physical classes allowed us to have direct interaction with the teachers, and our only resort to solving doubts were either going to school or were opting extra classes to understand the concepts better. But as the pandemic set forth, online classes took over and made itself a new model of schooling. Although we were stuck in our houses and suffocated in confined spaces, online learning has provided a great platform for all of us in some sort. For introverts like me, learning online was like studying in my small safe space, without anyone judging the amount of knowledge I hold, without anyone overpowering me when it comes to sharing my views on a certain topic. It also came with spending time with my family and exploring my capabilities. Spending and making time for myself during this phase brought me into a realization and paved the way for whom I'm supposed to be as a person. Months later, schools reopened, and we had the option to attend school offline, along with the online classes that would go on for the ones who cannot attend physically. This was a little challenging as we were used to the comfort of staying at home and having things available and getting them without any hassle. The switch from optional offline classes opened the way to making and meeting friends that whom we couldn't meet during that phase. It helped us make friends even better as the distance made us realize the importance of holding relationships and communication. The offline mode of the offline mode of teaching makes it better as there is direct interaction with the teacher, and clearing a doubt becomes easier with the teacher as he or she would know how much we have grasped the concepts, and this would help us during our examination as well. But online mode of learning has its own disadvantages too. Like as Shrija said before, investing a lot of time on screen is not the best option as it has a lot of problems, like it can give us headaches, a lot of eye related issues, we might get sight, it might disturb our sleep schedule, and it might even disturb the activities that we were basically supposed to do. So investing our time online, especially on our devices, it is a form of distraction. And this form of distraction, which is combined with teaching, wasn't really a great idea for most of us. As again Shrija said, it distracted us, and having 2 to 3 tabs beside our classes was a form of basically escaping, and most of us didn't want to learn as well. But for the ones who have learned, it has provided a great platform, and for the ones who haven't, it hasn't. But along with that, there are many people who have discovered their capabilities and who have taken new interests, who have started learning new things. Like I have started writing, I have started reading, which I never thought I would. And that is one disadvantage from online learning, as we have a lot of spare time around. And also it has disadvantage from on. And when we talk about examination pattern, talking about exams, there has been a lot of change. Previously we used to have the theory mode of writing where we would write the answers to the questions that were given. But recently the change that has come over, which is the multiple choice questions, has been quite an issue, as we as it was most basically it was tough for us, as it was only as one sorry as one question was only concentrated on one concept, whereas theory was a lot better as the question and answers would help us remember the points we read and solve them accordingly. With a given time limit and around 40 to 50 questions, being a first time solving such a paper was equivalent to a battle actually. But it helped us but it helped us understand time management and the type of questions that could be asked as well. It was a sudden switch, and the sudden drop in our marks was definitely demotivating. But it helped us learn about the diversity in the type of questions and would also help us for preparing for more instances like these. And finally, I would again like to thank AIEF. I would like to thank Deepika ma'am once again for this opportunity that was given to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Kshiraja. It was wonderful to know your views on this particular topic. So our next participant is Hemavant. Hemavant is a student of class 10 and is a karate champion. He had participated several competitions in karate, as well as he aspires to become a cardiologist, and he is the youngest of panel member because he is a class 10 student. I am really looking forward to see Himavant's opinion on this particular concept. Over to you, Himavant.
Thank you, ma'am. Good evening, respected panelists. My name is Hemant, and before I begin, I would like to take a moment to thank Thinking Minds, EduFacet, and AIEF to present to me this wonderful opportunity to present my views on the given topic. So, as we know, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected educational systems worldwide. It led to the near total closure of schools, universities, and colleges. Most governments decided to temporarily close education institutions in an attempt to reduce the spread of COVID 19. As of 12th January 2021, approximately 825 million learners are currently affected due to school closures in response to the pandemic. According to UNICEF monitoring, 23 countries are currently implementing nationwide closures and 40 are implementing local closures, impacting about 47% of the world's student population. So, getting back to the topic, when we're talking about online and offline methods of schooling, the personality of students should also be taken into account. Students who like socializing with their classmates and who like the human touch in their education prefer the offline method of schooling. Students who don't really like socializing with people and who are introverts prefer the online method of schooling. However, if these factors are put aside, each method of schooling has its own pros and cons. In the online method of schooling, information is at our fingertips. Productivity also increases with the that are assigned to us, and with all the skills we can have, we can always also discover new skills that we didn't know we had. Online classes can also be attended anywhere, regardless of where we are. So that makes it easy to attend classes even though we're out of town. But with pros comes cons too. Internet issues is one of the major problems faced by students worldwide. With constant power cuts, students face difficulties while studying. There's constant interruptions while studying. Sometimes they can't hear while the teacher is talking, or they can't talk and present their views during classes. So that's a major problem. There are also a lot of distractions during online class, like the previous panelist said. Students tend to get distracted by ads or or if the class is boring, they usually open another tab while keeping the videos on, and the teacher has no clue at all. Um, a common problem also faced by teachers is when students don't pay attention and turn off their videos. The teacher is totally clueless about if the student is attending the classes or not. On the other hand, in the offline method of schooling, there are no distractions and learning is uninterrupted. But in the offline method of schooling, considering the situation right now, the students' safety is at risk. Also, if students miss the school, if they have to travel out of town, they have no chance of getting to know what happened. Also, students who live far from school travel a long distance to reach the school. They often end up being late. Is actually a really major problem. So, in conclusion, you can say that the COVID-19 pandemic left a lasting effect on the way that the students learn. And we can also say that each method of schooling has its own merits and demerits. Thank you.
Thank you, Himavant. That was wonderfully put. Our next panelist is Sakshi, student of class 12, a promising model and who aspires to become an aerospace engineer. She's an avid reader and a passionate dancer. Her dream is to explore the wonders of the outer world. Thank you, Sakshi, for joining us. We are very eager to know your opinion. Over to you.
Good evening, panelists. I thank Thinking Minds, EduFacet, and AIEF for giving me an opportunity to voice out my opinions. When the lockdown started, I enjoyed my time because we didn't have to go to school. Basically, every student's dream come true, not having to wake up in the morning and instead of going to school, the school bus coming to us. But excess of anything gets boring at one point, right? Things started getting limited. Studying alone with computer as the only companion can be terrifying. And the isolation from the social world hasn't been easy either. Online classes are definitely the only way to keep learning alive, but for someone who has been so used to offline classes, it can be a little tough to adjust to a completely opposite atmosphere. I personally feel that online classes direct to less creativity and more instruction. The emanation of creativity in the minds of students comes when the class is active and full of life, but I guess we all find it missing because of all the distractions which our previous panelists have talked about. So we no longer can discuss and express our views with our fellow classmates and teachers like how we used to. Anyways, I'd be lying if I said that the online mode of education didn't have its advantages. We now have a more flexible timing, and the fact that we can attend classes from any part of the world made it so much more convenient. And students are no longer limited to a certain set of courses. We have lots of resources online and we can access it anytime. For someone who loves to multitask and keep themselves busy, online classes are a boon. But going to school and connecting with everyone definitely hits different in a good way. While the online mode of learning was the best and the only solution to blossom our knowledge in times like these, they weren't enough to prepare us for our exams. Well, most of us just completed writing our term one exams, and I think I speak for almost all the 12th graders when I say that we were not expecting this. We students had to face a lot of changes in the examination pattern this time, and it definitely didn't make it easier for us. Uh, let's start by talking about the OMR sheet. Well, a lot of us were very new to the concept itself, and while most of us could adapt easily, the others couldn't. And the duration of the exam as well. We got 1.5 hours, and we were given an additional 20 minutes for reading and analyzing the paper, which is great and very much needed. But it wasn't enough, right? And let me put it this way, if it had been a subjective exam, but with the same questions that we faced, the weightage of each question would be more. So you can see how challenging these objective examinations were, right? So we would be awarded more marks for the same question that we are only being given 1 mark for, right? And when we talk about the syllabus, most of us noticed a few out of box questions. It made us think that the questions were no longer pertaining to the syllabus and could be asked in a different way. And while it can be a great way to make students think out of the box, it hampered the scoring of students. So we students are not against examinations. We are mature enough to understand and realize the importance of 12th marks. Getting 70% above or so is the primary criteria for getting into reputed colleges. But we are not really comfortable with the new pattern of these examinations. Like I have discussed, the OMR sheet, the time crunch, and the out of box questions, etc. Had there been an objective examination with a lesser number of questions and a more flexible duration, it would have been less challenging for us. With lots of entrance exams coming our way, we are already stressed out, and while we expected term one exams to be easier, all that happened was that now students are more stressed out than ever. So, and well, we all know about the terrifying period before our results are announced. The anxiety, the pit in the stomach, and everything is also consuming. And I really don't think that the half yearly examinations are supposed to be this emotionally draining. I guess I speak for almost all the 12th graders when I say that these exams could have been conducted in a better way, which is more inclined to the convenience of students, right? And I would also like to thank all the teachers for keeping the tree of knowledge alive, especially in these tough times. And it was great knowing the opinion on online classes from an educator's and a psychiatrist's perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Sakshi. That was so sweet of you. Your last point, the teachers one, uh, it's wonderful, actually. It's always pleasure listening to you. This is the second time I'm listening from your words. It's really good. I hope all the students of 10th and 12th who has given the recent boards will definitely agree to your point. Thank you, Sakshi. Now our next panelist is Chandransh Dasari, student of class 11, an ardent nature lover and a nominated youth ambassador for her school. His passion is to play guitar and he's an amazing singer. He desires to become a bioscientist and contribute towards helping in saving the planet. Chandransh, it would be a great pleasure for me to listen from you. Over to you.
Yes, ma'am. So, good evening to all the panelists and friends that are present with me here. So, first off, I would like to thank the Thinking Minds, AIEF, and EduFacet for this opportunity to present our views and opinions for a change from the student side. So, currently facing the same difficulties that many of us globally are going through. So, first, I also like to thank Sadhvi and Asha ma'am for their views and understanding of the current situation that students not only in India but around the globe face constantly these days. So, as we all know, that 2020 and 2021 were two of the most different and completely unexpected times of our lives. Not only did we experience changes in our daily lives and routines, but also the educational sector took a major hit for the students. Now tell me, when did we ever imagine a day where we have our classes to be taught from our own laptop or phone by our own teachers? That would be the definition of online classes if I was given a chance to put it just in a sentence. I bet Google and Microsoft crossed over a million daily users, if not billion, within months of beginning of online classes. This sudden change may have filled their pockets of the software companies, but it sure did empty most of ours. Since we had to buy new devices and such for the online classes. So, also speaking of online classes, for extroverts like me, I can say without hesitation that this online way of communication is probably the last and the worst thing one could ever want, between your classmates and your teachers. I mean, come on. Who doesn't miss those days, when we come to the school, you see your friends, your classmates, your teachers, you crack jokes, you laugh together, talk together, and you connect with each other. And now imagine we have to send good morning messages by typing it out on WhatsApp and send a GIF, and that's it. That's the end of morning. Imagine getting WhatsApp forwards and good morning messages from families and others. Now, don't tell me no one got bugged because, come on, those are one of the most devotional and inspirational quotes that I don't personally think my family ever knew about. It's like I'm getting to know so many new things, from this. So, now moving on, the major hit was on the syllabus and exam patterns for our students. So imagine getting 30% off of our mathematics and other subjects. It's just literally deleted. It's like getting a 30% discount, of the subjects. Can't deny most of us, if not all, were super happy. Lesser the work, more the fun. Does mean a lot here. But this definitely hits the wrong spot for those aspiring to be in JE or in NEET exams, since they need every single bit of concepts from our textbooks to compete. Half knowledge is dangerous after all. Now, this updated MCQ pattern that was implemented may not be utterly new, as Sakshi mentioned, to the SOF Olympiad competitors, as some of us may have competed in our lower classes, but it definitely wasn't something that was done before. So few of the benefits, of course, are we are prepping for competitive exams. So some of us who are prepping for JEE and NEET, most of the questions are in the MCQ pattern. So that's where you get the practice. So right now, what's going on is, those who want to participate in the JEE and NEET exams, they are getting some practice from these questions that we get, since they both have a similar pattern. Also, you get a view of the closest result for the question that is available through the options. So suppose like you have a physics problem and you solve it and you get somewhat approximate value, and then you can search it with the options. So which one has the closest value to the one you've got? And then you can mark that as the correct answer, since that usually has most possibility to be the correct answer, right? And also it saves time, compared to the descriptive long answers, since we just need to mark one option, that's it. You don't have to keep writing papers and papers, asking ma'am extra sheet, and it just keeps going on. You can actually avoid all that, so that's a big relief for the teachers and for students, also those who are sitting behind those. I bet many of us felt it, while writing, and someone before you, he's like extra sheet, and you get that sudden tension. So I think that actually saves it, for some of the students. So, but also if you look at academic view, this actually gives plenty of time to confirm and recheck your answers. you know so you also get time to check whether you've written the right answer or not. Also, I don't know if many people observe this, but no paper is required, for the online way. You don't need any paper. So this actually saves the environment and trees, so come on, that's one way of being eco-friendly. That's one way we are saving the trees as students. Also, there is less prepping time required for exams. So since MCQs are just ticking the options, you don't have to prepare too much. You just need to read the concepts and then practice some MCQ questions, and you'll be done for the day. As for descriptive answers, you need to practice diagrams, you need to practice how to write in essays, you need to practice the time limit. I think that's a bit reduced for these MCQs. But also, let's look on the other side, since MCQs is not always positive, right? So, as for descriptive questions, it gives the opportunity for the student to demonstrate their knowledge on the concept. So, usually an MCQ, maybe the person knows just one part of the concept, and then that part only comes in the question, and then he's happy and he takes the answer. But what if the another person, he knows everything else about the concept except one particular part, and that particular part is asked in the question, so he's not going to get the mark, right? But actually it's a bit unfair, if you see. It's he knows so much about the concept, but he just doesn't know one part, and it cost him 1 mark. So that's actually pretty harsh, if you see. So it also, it helps the student give their particular views on the particular concept. And also there is scope for gaining more marks. For example, while solving analytical questions, certain marks can be given for the correct steps, even though the result might be wrong. So in mathematics and physics, usually when you solve the numerical, you get the steps correct, you get the formula correct, but at the last the result goes wrong. So the teacher, if he's a good one, he or she will obviously look at the steps, and he will realize, yes, he or she has done the steps correctly, he has done everything correctly except the result. So he will cut the mark for the result. Doesn't mean he'll cut the marks for the question, right? So suppose, like, if it is a 5-mark question, he might give around 3.5 or 4 out of 5. He won't cut all the 5 marks. But for MCQs, if you see, it teacher won't see what rough work you did, right? It's either yes or no. It's just take it or lose it. Simple. You just get the mark or you don't. There is no half, no 1/4. You can't bargain anymore. So that's one downside, I would say. And also it gives the opportunity to practice comprehensive skills related to the subject. So for example, English, if you see now these days, we are getting in the question paper, there are fill in the blanks, for letters. It's like you have to fill in the date, you have to fill in the name, that's it, you get the marks. But for as if it's going to be like that when we grow up. So in case we need to write an official letter to our boss, to our family, to anyone, you can't just like get a ready-made paper and then write a fill in the blank and then write down just fill in the blank and then send it. You have to practice it step by step, right? So that's what it gives practice. So you get to write the letter step by step, what to do, exactly how to give the respect, how to put your points. So it gives you practice, comprehensive skills. It's actually very required for those who are going for jobs, interviews, etc. It gives you so much skill, practice for improving your skills. Now these online exams did have a big effect on us. Now we have the comfort of home to factor into scoring the good marks. So by comfort of home, I mean relief from the exam hall tension and not anything else. So I hope others understand this part. But on the other side, it does lead to external factors that leads to greater chances of gaining more marks than the person usually is expected to. So you know what I mean. So there's that. So basically, putting this whole thing in a nutshell, let's say COVID has changed everyone's lives for the worse, and it is going to go on. I don't see any end to this. Maybe in 2 3 years or something, it's just going to keep going. So I personally hope we see the end of this situation. I mean, come on, admit it. Seeing your favorite teachers and friends on a screen, it just doesn't feel right. So when we grow up, and if someone asks us, "Hey, how was your school days?" I don't know about others, but I don't want to say I spent it in front of a 13-inch screen in my bedroom. It was perfect. I don't think I want to say that. So I hope that it doesn't go there. So, yes, thank you.
Wonderful, Chandransh. Wonderful. Your expressions are really great. No denying that we get a lot of comments. Your talk literally garnered a lot of attention. Thank you once again. Now I would like to request Asha ma'am to give her views on what she has heard. What does she think now as an educator on what the students feel, and how they should cope up. Madam, your views on this.
Yeah, Deepika ma'am, of course, after listening to these children, I really feel that, that personal touch is, required. Okay, that environment real is really needed than virtual. Okay, I really feel that. Okay, and and somewhere, it is missing out. That environment is missing. Okay, so I would like to bring everyone's focus on one more thing here. uh, I think we should somewhere trust these children. Okay, we should somewhere uh, have to believe in them. Let us give them the space which they require at home. Okay, so let us not try to mix school in home. Okay, school should they should get that proper space of home at home. All right, because teachers are already guiding them. They are getting enough guidance, and they are smart enough. They know all the technologies. Okay, and they are learning so much. I think they are fast learners than us. Okay, so somewhere we need to give them their space, and let us not stress them too much at home. I think this kind of stressing them too much from the parent side, okay, and various other things, I think it is building a kind of pressure on them. So we should try to help them at least from this side. So this is what I wanted to bring everyone's notice to this point here.
Yes, Asha, madam, that is true. It is correct. Like what you have portrayed, that we should all be together in this. Thank you.
Yes.
I now request Sadhvi, madam, doctor, to tell us more about the stress which these present students are facing. And madam, what is your opinion as a psychiatrist, that you regularly meet so many people who are undergoing this stress, but the children do not have the opportunity, or we do not bring them out, or they do not come out with it, but they are also mentally stressed somewhere. Adults, we know the ways, we if we are constructive in our thinking process, we will definitely understand ways to garner this negative energy into positive. But with children, they're still how do I put it, they're still not able to understand how to channelize this negative energy. So there comes your role, and we go through this platform. I would like to know, or our children would like to know, how to garner, how to branch it out, so that their negativism is coming into constructivism. Over to you, ma'am.
So before going to that, I want to tell that this discussion has been really enlightening, because I'm well over that headache of exams and attending classes, fortunately. And see, adulthood sucks, but the only advantage it offers is you don't have to attend exams. And then I have not yet joined this league of my baby goes to the school. So I'm somewhere in between. So it has been really enlightening to see how kids nowadays are going through, what kids nowadays are going through. So before going to the what can be done, just let me just remind you people again what stress is and how it happens. So I think because you attended earlier session also the detailed explanation of stress. Another simple example is what happens. Suppose you are on road in a car near a traffic signal, and on all four sides it is showing green, like the signal is jammed and all four sides is going green. What happens? There is confusion everywhere. Everyone wants to start and go, and everyone wants to cross the other person. So there is a huge confusion around, and that is what happens when there is stress. See, I really admire kids nowadays because I'm a 90s kid. So if I wanted to stop my distractions to happen when I was studying, all I had to do was switch off the TV. And during the exam season, those 2 3 months, we just had to disconnect the dish connection, and everything would be fine. But nowadays, kids have to navigate between many things. There is TV, there is Netflix, there are social media sites, and on top of it, now the education also has become online. So because stress happens when things are new, unpredictable, uncontrollable, what we can do to counteract is to get a sense of control and get into the mode of adaptability. This applies for everything. This is not for now or exams. Even in future, if you are facing some stressful situation, the only thing which can help you get out of it is adaptability and getting a false sense of, even a false sense of control. It's like fake it till you make it kind of control. Adaptability is like, see, imagine before John Gutenberg invented this printing machine, we all used to write on leaves, right? Then when the printing machine came, everyone would have thought that this was crazy. Writing on leaves is very easy. We can get them easily. We just have to use some pressure, and this printing is a whole cumbersome process. And when the next step of invention happens, every time we have difficulty in adopting. So now considering the online classes would be the new norm, it will take time, but as soon it will be easier if we can adapt to it. So we are in this bridge situation. So we have to go smoothly. Most kids are facing problems because there is no direct interaction. There is a lot of passive activity. There is kind of sluggish inactivity whole day, which actually looks like less activity, but it is more tiresome mentally. This in turn impacts our concentration, that impacts our performance, that again comes back to stress because we are not performing well, that will stress us more. This will lead to a vicious cycle of low performance, lack of focus, stress, low performance, lack of focus, and stress. Somewhere we have to bridge the gap. What I usually suggest is one thing: pretend as if this is a regular class. Get up. We all need that kind of discipline. This lack of discipline is something which is bothering everyone because we are all habituated of getting up at a certain time, getting ready, taking the school bus, going to the class, and sitting in class. If this is bothering you much, make a habit of doing things exactly as if you're going to school. Get up at same time, like 15 to 10 minutes here and there. Do the same things, and now because you're going to stare at screens for longer durations, I advise you to definitely do some kind of physical exercise. Exercise is completely anti-stress. Uh, it has been proven even at neurochemical level also. I'm not just saying that positive affirmations kind of level. This is actually proven even from the aspect of neurochemical understanding that exercise is anti-stress. Do some kind of physical exercise because that will discharge all kind of impulsivity and distractibility. And then try mindfulness meditation. Mindfulness meditation is not like regular meditation. It's not like you have to think about something and you have to really focus on that thing. Mindfulness is more like acceptance and awareness of your thoughts. It is much easier to do, and that gives you a sense of peace. Even when you start doing it, try for 10 minutes. Even before every class, you can do that 1 or 2 minutes. That actually gets you back to the earth, and it's like you will become more aware of your surroundings. It will increase your focus during classes. Next thing, dress properly. Uh, See, one advantage initially we thought was we don't need to dress properly for school anymore, or for for meetings or anything anymore. But actually, that has proven to be uh, a drawback. Now we are not serious about anything. Now we are not serious about classes. So I advise better to dress properly. Even if it is not school uniform, dress properly. Take a proper place for classes. Do that. Do take classes there every time and every class. Now, because there is we can take classes on phone, we tend to go to different rooms, lie down on sofas and beds to take classes. It is better to avoid all those things, because offline classes don't happen like that. We have to sit at a particular place every day. That also gives a sense of discipline for us. So do all those things, and posture is also very important. Posture actually tends to exhaust you more if you are just slouching in the chair. So be in a good posture all the time. Take frequent breaks between every classes. Get up and go out, roam around. Because we do that, all those things. We do all those things on offline classes. We just chat with people. We go around. We leave class in five for 5 minutes and we come back. Do all those things, but remind yourself that it is just 5 minutes break. Take online classes also very seriously. This is all about adaptability. Even when, see, this corona is not going anywhere for next few years. So once in a while, even the offline classes start, we are always going back to the online classes in between. So this is all about adaptability now. So improve your adaptability. Have a regular schedule. Follow that regular schedule strictly. Again, like Srija told, it's all about your inner motivation. There is no one to remind you of anything. There is no one to punish you if you are just sleeping in your class, or if you are browsing through internet in your class. It's all about your inner motivation, and it's actually a bit better also, because you people have to realize how to motivate yourself. Again, if you think that your impulse control is very bad, if you think that you cannot control yourself from grabbing a phone or grabbing a tablet while class is happening, keep the impulses away. That means keep your phone, tablet, or anything which distracts you away. It's all about impulse control, but if you cannot control, it's always better to use plan B. What I usually do is I keep my phone out of reach. Then because I'm too lazy, I don't get up and bring my phone. So that helps. See what works for you. Having a good discipline is like very, very, very important. And then for stress, I definitely advise you to do exercise, some form of physical exercise. It can be very small thing like dancing, or a serious thing like zumba or anything. But do some physical exercise at least 5 times a week. This actually, the online classes have reduced the have completely eliminated the need for travel. So we now have more time. Use that time, exercise more, and also do mindfulness meditation, which also helps. Another thing is keeping in touch with your classmates and teachers. See, for introvert like me, it might not be an issue. I cannot see a person for months together and I still survive if I have food and books. But for extroverts, it can be a real struggle. So have your friends groups. Regularly discuss with people. If you're in school, see, if you are attending a school, if there is something very interesting happening, you usually start the discussion, right? Have that support groups. Have groups of teachers and students who are in your alignment, then that also helps. Again, this is going to stay. This entire system is going to stay. So the fast we adopt, the you know peaceful we will be. And if you still have any more concerns, if you think you have complete burnout and you are not able to focus at all, seek some help. You can reach out to me on my Instagram account with my name, Sadhi Maithili. I might not respond immediately, but I'll try to respond as fast as I can. So that's it for now.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Sadhvi, ma'am, for your kind words. I know the present situation is quite challenging, not only for the students, teachers, parents, and society alike. And pandemic happened when we least expected, isn't it? So when we least expect it, life sets us a challenge to test our courage and willingness to change. But at that particular point, there is no point in pretending that nothing has happened, or we are going to stay in our shell and we are going to be like this. We need to overcome this challenge, and we need to work on this. Life does not give us another chance. So instead of letting that paranoia, or can I say that we are in that set of framework and in that particular mind, we will not change, would not help us. The students definitely have put their point forth. Educators have also put their point forth. Let us come to some concurrence wherein we will not give up this challenge, and we will overcome it. Well said, Sadhvi ma'am, that we need to take certain steps to overcome this negativity, or overcome this kind of uh, caged environment which the virtual world for many students have virtual world has provided for many students. And many students feel caged because their energies are contained in the four walls of their houses, or in their laptops or in their smartphones, because they have accessibility to different worlds and they are not ready to go out or come out of it. So I would thank you, all of you. I would like to end this session with a quote. There are two ways of meeting difficulties. Either you alter the difficulties or you alter yourself to meet them. So let's alter ourselves, all of us, young, adult, old, whatever we name them. And we let us overcome this challenge and let us work together. That is what the motto of Thinking Minds, EduFacet, and All India Educators Forum. I once again thank you all, the panelists, especially the students, for giving their wonderful opinions and making this session a huge success. And it was a huge learning for me also. Thank you, Doctor, for joining us at a very short call. Thank you, Asha ma'am, you too, for joining us at a very short call too. And all the students, wonderful to hear your opinion. And this is, I think, it's the first time that we are hearing out. So have a good night, all of you. Thank you once again.